are you today, Siobhan?
Good, thanks, Shana.
It's good to hear. Now, I've got a few questions that I want to ask you about your presentation and your song choice. Firstly, what is the genre of your song and why did you choose that genre for?
So my song was A Little Party Never Killed Nobody by Stacey Ferguson, and it is the genre of pop. So I was given the 1920s decade out of the group, and that reminded me of the movie The Great Gatsby, which is where I heard the song.
Beautiful. So what elements of music have been used?
So the elements of music that have been used is rhythm, dynamics and tempo. Dynamics is used as it is how loud or soft the music is. So the song starts off very soft, and as it gets further into the music it gets louder and louder as more instruments are added. Tempo is used as the song starts off slow and it gets faster along with the instruments added. There's also body percussion such as the clapping at the start when we turn around and the choreographed dance.
Beautiful. Now, that sounds really interesting. Now, that's quite a lot of information to take in. Now, how would you use this particular genre and the elements of music within the classroom setting?
Well, because my genre is pop, it's especially great for in the classroom because most kids listen to pop songs on the radio. They're everywhere. You can hear pop songs anywhere. So kids would love a pop song or a pop activity of music in the classroom. But I really like the activity that we had to do as a group. So I think that this could be changed to suit kids in a school setting by putting them in groups like we did, and they're choosing one song altogether and they can add in instruments to the song, they can change dances to the song, incorporated further into the classroom by students changing or coming up with their own lyrics for a song and just having their own free will, that's not really the word, having their own spirit.
Creative.
Having their own creative spirit to do whatever they like.
That sounds interesting. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for interviewing me.
You're welcome.
Jess, how you going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I think we're just going to be talking about the genre that you chose in our performance.
I'll start with telling you about my song. I picked Shake, Rattle and Roll by Bill Haley, which comes under the genre of rockabilly. Rockabilly was a really new style of music in the 1950s and became quite prevalent and changed the course of music and history and was really influential in developing like rock and roll and that kind of thing. Rockabilly is kind of a culmination of country music, a little bit of jazz and blues, really upbeat tempo, kind of influential and makes you want to dance. So that was really why we chose it, and it correlated really well with our theme.
What elements of music have been used in your genre?
One of the big elements is the rhythm or the tempo. It's really, really upbeat. It's usually just sung by one person, but they and has minimal number of instruments, but through that they make this incredibly upbeat, fast tempo in their music, and it's quite addictive and just what makes you want to get up and dance, which is why I thought it was really good for our theme. So I really focused on the dancing aspect when we did our presentation.
Alright, and so how would you use a song or a genre like yours in the classroom?
Look, rockabilly I think is a really great genre to use in the classroom. One, because it was so influential at the time in changing music. So in terms of looking at other aspects of the curriculum, such as history and civics and citizenship, it's really good to sort of bring it back a little bit deeper and take it away just from the music and playing music side of things. Also, as I mentioned, it's really great for dancing, so it kind of connects with physical education. You can make some dance routines. Lots of other things, like the lyrics are generally simplistic, often witty, but very simplistic, so students can make their own rockabilly songs, I guess. So it kind of ties in all areas of the curriculum if you really dig deep and look for areas. And the same, music is a fantastic tool and it caters for a wide range of learning styles and learning abilities. So yeah, I think it's
It does. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi Michael, how you going?
Oh, good, thanks Jess, how are you?
Good, thank you. Once again, we're here today to talk about your genre and why you have chosen it. So I just want to ask a few questions. What genre did you choose and why did you choose it?
Okay, so as we sort of explained earlier on, our theme or motive today was Party Through the Ages, and I was assigned the decade, the 80s, and so I did a bit of research through the 80s and just looked at some of the more prevalent and more popular artists of the time, and I found that Bruce Springsteen was really one of the key people pushing rock and roll, which was my genre for the 80s. And so I chose the song Dancing in the Dark, which was released in 1984, and I believe it was number one for quite a few weeks in the US and overseas as well. So I just thought it was just a really good song that really represented rock and roll really well.
Fantastic. And did that correlate with the theme Party Through the Ages?
Yeah, well, as you probably heard from the performance, Dancing in the Dark is a pretty upbeat song. Got a lot of rhythm and beat, just a lot of dancing. So yes.
Which brings me to my next question. So what elements have you used in your song?
Obviously, rhythm was probably the key one. Just the timing of it very much set the mood for the song. But there was also a few other elements, such as pitch and bass, which really just helps to sort of give that just a few extra layers, which are sort of stereotypical of rock and roll. Like, some people think it's all just heavy guitars and that, but there's quite a few layers that go in to make the melody that is rock and roll. Yeah.
Perfect. So how do you think you could really utilise this song or this genre in a classroom setting?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I sort of explained it a bit more in my essay, but basically, not only rock and roll, but, all types of music you can incorporate into the classroom, because whether it is in the music classroom or, really be relating it to something else, you can sort of always relate to how a music piece gets put together. And even in my essay, one of the people I researched, he had a philosophy class, and he introduced rock and roll and how people from rock and roll, their messages were related to the messages that philosophers of hundreds of years ago were using. So it made it more relatable to the students of his classroom. So yeah, as long as you can make it relatable to what you're trying to teach and to the students' needs, and you can use it in any classroom.
So what you've just said there is really that you can utilise music in more areas of curriculum than just music. So it relates
absolutely.
to
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it
broader
can be
curriculum.
used as both a formal and sort of informal medium to sort of push your message across. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time, Michael.
How you going, Jess?
Good, thank you.
That's good. So as we just explained after our group presentation, we did Party Through the Ages today,
We did.
and within that presentation for your dance, what was your song and artist, and why did you choose that?
So I chose to sing We Like to Party by the Venga Boys, and my music genre was dance. I just found that dance suited my decade, which was the 90s, obviously, and We Like to Party was written in 1998.
Okay. So what elements of music have you used or you found were sort of more prevalent in your piece of music?
I found that rhythm was really evident in my genre, because in any song that's related to dance music, it can either be slowed down or it can be in an upbeat tempo, and all that relies on the rhythm.
Okay. And so do you feel you could incorporate rhythm or something like what we've done today into the classroom setting?
I think you can, because you can incorporate it through a history lesson, for argument's sake, and you can learn about the origin of dance music, or even like a band like the Venga Boys, or even in physical education, where you can actually teach the kids a dance, get them moving around, play the songs, and just get them going. Yeah.
Okay. So you felt like We Like to Party by the Venga Boys is probably the best justification of song for your
I do.
decade?
I think that dance music sparked in like the 1970s, around then, and so my decade was 1990s, and I found that other than, say, bands like, say, the Spice Girls or Backstreet Boys, the Venga Boys really were influenced by bands like that, so they were able to show emotion and be very influential in the dance music scene.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions about the song you chose. and the
Sure
genre.
thing.
So, what genre did you choose, and why did you choose it?
Overall, I chose the genre of musicals and musical theatre. The reason why I chose this is because I had the era of 2000 and now, and I loved the musical High School Musical to begin with. I just thought the way the music and dance collaborated together made a wonderful musical.
So what elements have you used in your song?
The elements that I selected from my song, which was All for One from High School Musical 2, was rhythm, tempo, and vocals. The reason why I selected these three elements is because the way in the song it has the 6 main characters singing a different line, so you get a different form of different pitches and harmonies which work really well in the song together. And with the rhythm, the way the artists were using their bodies to make a body percussion was a very good job, well done.
How would you use music in the classroom?
I would use musicals, especially in the classroom, by teaching children the history about musicals and where it originated from, and then relating it to something that they enjoy, such as High School Musical, which is targeted at them. But it also incorporates the theory of dance, movement and music together into one, so you could learn about the different aspects and then mesh it all together, as well as learning about the processes that actually goes into a musical.
Okay, very good. Nice talking to you today.
Nice talking to you too.